Greetings, everybody. Welcome to this whole brand new world that we are moving through, stepping through with braveness and courage and magnificence. Um, yeah, breathing at the threshold of another portal as we have just crossed this huge portal yesterday. Today, still lingering on with Mahashivratri, which was beyond amazing, beyond amazing. So I want to just do a little catch up, a little quick update of my perceptions and where we're going, and share some really beautiful artwork. I seem to be very blessed at the moment that I am just churning out this breathtaking artwork, which I think I might use somewhere else, but that's fine. So let's just bring in Shiva and Ganesha and the Holy Blessed Mother and the Christ consciousness, which is really about to start streaming in for many. So welcome. So I hope everybody celebrated in some way or another the amazing night of Shiva, the pouring of the energy, and ushering in a whole completely new age. I don't like that word, but a new earth, a new way of doing things. Obviously, we have a lot of things that are hitting the fan at the moment, and we're really being called to just stand firm on our ground and the things that we have learnt and gathered and empowered ourselves with. Some things we don't need anymore. Some things we went down a little road, we didn't need to go down that way. But just come back to yourself, to your center point, to your feet on the ground, to your energy channel, to your antennae awakened. Yeah. So let me, I don't, yes, I do have some bells. Back into bed. Oh, I don't know if I want to keep up with all these energies anymore. But Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. And so I'm just going to wait a little while and see if anybody who pops in. I know it was kind of spontaneous. I didn't really advertise it. I've been really tired. I felt like I've done three all-nighters in a row, and I'm like so tired that I can't sleep, which is okay. I am Grace. How are you doing, my love? Did you do something special yesterday? That'd be interesting to know. Yeah. So I said I feel like I did three all-nighters, and I've just been so blessed with the amazing I'm like gobsmacked at the art that's actually just churning through. I do want to start really painting and getting my fingers really dirty again, but it's fine. It's like this art is just so blessed and from another level that's just coming through for me at the moment. I think it kind of worked with hugely when Yuki part before. But yeah, this lot is just got such a beautiful blessing. It's just so rich and sumptuous and totally passionate and full of where I really relate to it. Sumptuousness and the divinity and the groundedness and the beauty and the choices of beauty behind it, which is where I shall be going in my life a little bit more, and trying not to jump back into any old loops. So today, just very briefly, as I said, we've got so many boom, 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 booms. It's almost like for me, well, I think for everybody, whether you know it or not, it's a container from the 11/11. So for us, Carnival in Germany starts on the 11/11 and it ends today on Rosenmontag, where there's a lot of feasting and debauchery, Western style. Let's just get that done over and done with. And then we go into fasting on Wednesday. And obviously we have this portal openings and new moons and golly, we'll just take one step at a time. But I do just want to talk about the energies that were happening yesterday and my experiences of them. For a long time, for a while. I'm just, number one, I'm just so grateful to myself. And I hope that I've shared quite a bit of knowledge of the Vedas and Bharat India, the old name of India. I like to call it Bharat India. It doesn't seem good for me. But the Vedas and the Puranas and the history and the stories, and as I've said, take them at face value. Don't look at them as myths. Just take them as reality, and we'll kind of sift through them, because they have given me so much insight into what Mahashivratri and a lot of the celebrations and the music and the colors and what people are doing. So I'm not going to divulge everything that I see. I see too much as part of my problem. But yeah, it was massive. It was absolutely massive. So I did the Sadhguru thing, and I actually put my name in there, which, I mean, this was the 32nd one that he's done. And it was, I mean, he's from having 40 people at the first one, it's actually just escalated to millions. And it was quite hypnotic. It started off with he'd been building a lingam for the feminine, which, if you remember a while back, I said that the reason that the Shiva is and Jesus with all of this was about a year or two ago, was actually to rescue the divine feminine, or rescue to become part of it. I used the word rescue, which is it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. But it was in a separate hall. And I felt that I was in deepest magical Egypt, if you want to think of that. It was the ritual, the magic, the magic, the spiritual energy, the shift, the calling in of all the forces was palpable. It was beyond hypnotic. I could actually smell the incense. I was like just going in and out of consciousness. It was in like one of the most deeply magical spaces that I have been in. And that was the consecration of this lingam, which was, I'm not exactly sure what he's done. I need to do a bit of research. I don't dip too much into Sadhguru. And he doesn't dip too much into it too. He's very there's obviously been a lot out there on the internet again today. I just saw against him, and that's okay, you know. He did, so there was this consecration, and there were these dances, and there was so much incense and so much fire and so much ritual and so much magic. and so much consecration. I don't know how anybody managed to actually stand in that environment. It was beyond trippy, beyond trippy. I really left my body completely. I don't know if it was in a good space or a bad space, but it was, I kind of had heard what he was doing a little bit because he's been working on it for quite a while, and he's been working on something else. That's all he's doing for this year, which he will open at the end of this year. A very interesting character, Sadhguru. I used to I didn't, a few years, but I'm sorry I didn't actually go into it, but I think I sort of first came across Sadhguru in 2019, 2020, and his journeys across the countries. But hello, love. Hello, lovey. Hello, beautiful. It's been a journey that he's been on for a long time. And what Sadhguru actually means, because, you know, I like to get the meaning of things because then it makes things, oh, okay, that's what's happening. SADH. I used to just call him Sadhguru. Hello, Angela. I was just saying what an opening there was. I did the Sadhguru thing last night as well. And then that finished at 1:30 in the morning. And that was also that we'll talk about that. And then I kind of did my own thing. And then I jumped, that was 5 o'clock in the morning for me. I jumped into Jared's Mahashivratri. I jumped around a little bit, but I was really, I just went back to Sadhguru because the music was just of such a high caliber and so hypnotic. And we're really talking shaman drumming, which we experienced last night, if you were with Jared last night. That was totally hypnotic, which is where we're supposed to be. This is what I've been looking for. The African put, which they've covered up over the years, but let's not even go there. We're managing because I think the portal is open for many reasons. It just is what it is. Let's not ask too many questions because we don't have enough time to ask questions. We have time to just move. Sadhguru, the SADH, actually means he is a guru, for lack of a better word. He is as I said, I felt like I did 3 because I did Sadhguru and then I did my own thing between 2 and 5. And then 5 o'clock was with Jared until whatever time it went on till this afternoon. And then I thought, I should sleep, but I just couldn't sleep. I was so triply wound up, but couldn't really do anything else. And that was also okay. So yeah, it is when there is no guru that has any answers, you get a Sadhguru. He's like beyond a guru. It's not like he's like higher than a guru. It's just he answers the unanswerable. Yeah, very interesting character. So just little things that I've just recently heard and I respect him because I've looked at what's happened with Osho over the years and many of the other gurus that are over have come to the West and really distorted a lot of things, with Tantra and Yogi tea, and the whole thing of yoga. Vivekananda, very few real gurus this side, on the West. But he said that he didn't do any rituals with his group or whatever you want to call them for 20 years. For 20 years, they just meditated. There were no rituals. Last night was ritual like WTF, like totally trip out. I mean, this was deepest, darkest, heaviest Egyptian type stuff, but it was Indian. Yeah. So he said because he didn't want people, because ritual, and especially in India, but all over, where you have the corruption of the priests who take money for doing ritual and for creating boons and creating spells, for lack of a better word. Which in a lot of India, you're not allowed to charge. You're not supposed to charge for certain things. So he didn't want to do any rituals. So he just meditated with his group for 20 years. And obviously he did a lot of other things, but there were no rituals. You just came, you meditated, and basically you were just quiet. And you learned to be still, because that is Shiva. He's really, I think, in a way, followed the Shiva path. Because he didn't want people, he needed to be sure that people, there would be a lot of money coming in and that they would be trustworthy, because there's been so much corruption with gurus and churches and all these things with money. When money comes in, filthy, filthy lucre. And there's so much money there, it's unbelievable. It's insane. I mean, his sponsors right now are like, wow. And then the other thing, so he's immaterial. He's worked hard at it, as he also says. If you don't have many people against you, it means you're not doing too much. So, I was also in 2014. I just want to say, a big thing for me is my peoples perish for lack of knowledge. So when we know some things, or it's people for knowledge, and then we say, oh, okay, that makes sense then. So he's been working, his main focus is, what does he call it? Save the Soil. And he's been working on that since 2014. I know I've heard about it, bits and pieces, and that's why he was also with the World Monetary Fund. All he wants to tell people is that the crust of the earth, the topsoil of the earth, is actually diminishing. And if that topsoil, and there's also that amazing woman, is that Indian woman who's wonderful, who's had a big mouth. I can't remember her name now. She's always got this huge big red dot on her head. She's quite fabulous as well. I just hear her saying, Monsanto, she don't like all of this stuff. So it's destroying the topsoil through bad farming methods, through obviously poisons, toxins that we're putting into the earth. So this has been and I think, I won't say everything, but a huge amount of things that he does comes through this door. And it's the reason why he's done those crazy, like motorbike rides around the America. That's when I kind of I was like, what, this idiot? Like, talking to everybody. He was on the Joe Rogan show and like stopping all over the place and chatting to people. But he basically just went on his motorbike and he traveled through America. It is kind of theatrics. He's done quite a few across India. But it is to actually get people aware of who he is. Not because he wants to be a guru, but because he wants you to be aware of what's happening with the topsoil and what's happening with the farming. And he's putting so much money and so much effort and sponsorship through the sponsors that he has into creating old but new farming methods. It was very interesting this year because I think it shocked a lot of people that he gave a lot of certificates, for doing wonderful things in India. And he's really he worries about the rest of the world, but his main thing is about India. And he has actually done some quite amazing things with new schooling, and he's worked hugely. They've got now thousands and thousands and thousands of farmers, and bringing in the rural things. I've watched recently also a few. He used to do them separately. Now he does them with other people. He takes you on a pilgrimage, which is absolutely crazy. They used to be on bike. Now they take cars because he's sponsored by Tata. You know what was so amazing for me yesterday? Seeing all these dignitary cars. I mean, it was like serious stuff, serious people. was I was so glad not to see a flipping Mercedes. I just like such a relief. But that is something, as if you know, I've done really a lot of deep, deep, deep stuff, research and stuff into the Vedas and the history of India and when it started. And it's not just me. They also just putting it together and trying to figure it out where it's fitting in. So So all this preamble that I'm going on about is actually where we're all going. It's total. Oh, sorry about this. It's total practical. Oh, I'll be with us in a second. Ting, ting, ting. There we go. Okay, so yeah, it was just really nice, and that's like a few of the people that I've been, and as I've mentioned over the years that I've been like digging into the deep diving into this, is I've really wanted to like learn from Indian scholars, so I just count myself very privileged to have learned quite a lot and to be able to see and to understand a lot more of what is actually happening. So what's happened last night, I mean, I really hope that people really tuned into a lot of the energy of Shiva and who he is and who we're moving on with this energy of Shiva, and that, well, it's a divine energy. I can't call it anything else. It's not a Christ energy, though it is. We have the Christ energy, which is something slightly different, and we have the Buddha energy, but we have the Shiva energy, and that contains pretty much absolutely everything as far as I'm concerned. We were just lucky that he kind of shared it out. So the ceremonies were just so amazing. There was this beautiful dance of Shiva, the pouring of the waters, the Ganges coming down, which that story of the Ganges, he doesn't go into it very deeply. He really just keeps it very whoops. So let's just see where we were. Ah, so much beauty. Here's the Ganges. Yeah, that was also, I can't remember if it was both Brahma and Vishnu. They wanted this water, which is basically the Milky Way, and the waters to come down to earth, to actually flood earth. And it would actually like reduce the population hugely. But Shiva jumped in and he caught the waters in his hair, and they became the Ganges, the holy, holy Ganges waters, which, they're very holy, and have been like feeding the whole of India. It's Mother Ganges, the whole mother waters of India for many years. So he actually stopped, and if you look at pictures of Shiva, he actually has the water in his top knot, and it actually comes out. So he's the holder of the waters, which is also the holder of the Divine Mother. So I don't know how all of these link in yet. I'm still battling with time frames like everybody else on the planet. They're trying to figure it out. There've just been so many interesting archaeological findings in India just this year already, and we've hardly got into it. And that's actually something which they are really changing hugely in India at the moment, is that the government, their own government, not Siemens and the World UNESCO, are the government, and as they're pushing for the government to actually be behind the archaeological expeditions and put money behind them so that they don't have to go for UNESCO or for the Great World Fund. There was something else that was like just so important that India was like, oh, right. What Sadhguru is really pushing for now in government is that the temples, at the moment, they've been taken over by the government, and the government maintains them, and if there's money to be charged, but as he says, there's no heart. So he wants temple people to actually people who are devoted to actually run the temples. And there's actually, I somehow just also tuned into this lady a little while ago. She's called the Temple Girl. She's quite wonderful. So she has a whole lot of stories. She goes around, she's busy writing a book, and she goes around temples and she tells us all the little stories of the temples. Just something I just Googled a little while ago, that just in the south of India, there are over 240,000 temples. It's a lot of temples. So a very interesting, but it's way too much to talk about in just a couple of minutes right now. So this is very personal. This is oops, come on, where are you? This is my personal thing where I sit with the Holy Mother and Jesus and Shiva, obviously Paramahansa Yogananda and Buddha and Anandama, but that's just part of where my focus goes. So as I said, I've been so blessed by the most amazing visionary artwork that has just come through. So extremely blessed, yeah. So there was this story where Shiva appeared as a divine being of light, not as anything, because Vishnu and Brahma were arguing as to who was greater and who was more important. And then there just appeared on Mount Kailash this like huge stream of light. And Brahma went up to the top to see if he could find the top, and Vishnu went down to the bottom to see where he could find the bottom of it. And Vishnu came back and he said, no, he couldn't find the bottom. And Brahma said, no, he found the top, he lied. And for lying, Shiva took his little finger, materialized then as Shiva, and took his little fingernail and chopped the fifth head of Brahma off. So Brahma only has 4 heads. And Brahma was kind of cursed, for lack of a better word right now, in that he wouldn't be worshipped, even though he is the creator, and he's very he's in all the stories, but he would not be worshipped. And in India, I'm not sure if one's in India and one's in the States, but there are only, let's just say 2. There are only, I was thought 1, but there are only 2 temples dedicated to Brahma in the whole of India. So out of 240,000 temples, and that's just in the south of India. We haven't looked at the north of India yet. So this was this intense being that arrived and then materialized as Shiva. So it was this streak, this huge beam of divine light. And then he materialized and he just sat and meditated in absolute stillness and silence. And there were so many followers around him that were just like so totally like, what on earth is this? What on earth is going? And they waited and they watched and they just watched and watched and watched, and he didn't move. The only thing they knew was that every now and again there would be tears of ecstasy. So they knew that he was still alive, but he just meditated for how many thousands and thousands of years, we don't actually know. And slowly but surely everybody pretty much left, but there were just 7 rishis that were left behind. and they just stayed. The 7 sages, the 7 wise men. We figured that they're all over in all the cultures. I'm still not sure that they all came from India, but the story they say is that then Shiva actually did awaken and told them that they had to go out, and all the things that they had learned through meditating with him, just like being in his stillness, they had to go out and civilize the world and create. These are the gods of architecture, of agriculture, of metalwork, of geometries. So I'm definitely going to be dipping into these more because, it's been quite a fascination for me. This also ties in, and we don't know yet. We're still, I've been this big thing on trying to figure out the timelines, and as I say, along with some very big scholars that are also trying to figure out the timelines. In the Indus Valley, there's this incredible culture which just disappeared. Okay, but there was no. There's also they have the writing that they had. They can't actually decipher it yet. Nobody's been able to translate it, so they're not sure if, where it came from, exactly what time. But it's very, very, very old. But they were obviously traders, and they had no ruler. There were no kings and queens. The people were there, but they had toilets and plumbing water, and the cities were just amazing. And then it just disappeared. So part of what they're figuring out right now is that there was this incredible drought, which happened also in Egypt, so that there was for 2 years, and if there's no water in Egypt for 2 years, there would have been no crops. And there was this incredible drought also that happened in India. And what was left, they was not the worship. That didn't matter. You can't teach a hungry man about God. But what they remembered were the formulas how to build. And they took these geometries and they created this incredible city, which everything is exactly pure north and the crossroads are east to west. And this is where they have the running water, and they can see that they planted, and they used metal. And it was just being able to rebuild a whole civilization on one that had crashed, completely departed. So they're looking deeply into a lot of that. The story is that Shiva sent these rishis out, one to everywhere in the world, South America, North Africa, Asia, Europe, so that everybody would be able to rebuild. That's their story. We'll look at, we have the Dogon and all of these where people arrived from Sirius. So, they all kind of tie in, but there's still a lot of ifs and buts and things around. Why I'm into this is actually what we're building now. We're building practicality. So the time for all this wada fish paste out there, I think has really is coming to an end. We've moved over into a different era, into a different light. We're getting downloads, we're seeing people, we're getting visitations. These are now normal. Work on these more and more in your own life. But it's to be really practical. There was a comment on somebody's page, and oh, is PG here? Where's PG? Oh, I see him. Yeah. It's PG and me. I don't do magic. This is this whole thing, This is all magic, but I don't do magic. So it's going to be living in very, very interesting times. Indeed. Victor, hello. Yeah, I was just talking about how the 7 rishis went out to different parts of the world to rebuild the world. And this is what I feel at the moment, that these are from the Dogon, as well as, I've been in the last couple of years. From the Dogon, these masters are back. So we're getting visitations, we're seeing people, they're coming into our lives, we're seeing them in our head, we're seeing them, visions of them, they're materializing for some people. So many people are doing out of body. It's really exciting. I I think out of body learning is actually the way that we're going to have to go, especially the way for me. That's where I feel where AI is going. Is you can't believe, you can't trust if you don't know what's happening with AI. Oh, Heaney, please, it's fine. Oh. So yeah, so those are the our gifts that we should be, and it's not for everybody. Not everybody is going to be doing that, and we're going to also have to be very discerning as to who we're trusting. I mean, I know with my and I think AI is great. I think AI is an intelligence. Um, it's not an artificial intelligence. I think it is an intelligence from somewhere else, and it's been around for a very, very, very long time. Just another really scary, for me, I found it was really scary actually. I was looking up Project Stargate. Project Stargate was, this was in the 70s. Okay, so I knew all of this. Okay, so it was in the 70s as part of that whole Monroe Institute. Um, whew, no, we didn't watch the launch. Oh, golly, you did. Did they get through? What's on the dark side of the moon? Um, okay, Project Stargate. So that was where they used the secrets and the spiritual engineering, spiritual methods of doing out of body experiences and traveling and reading. You know, Madame Blavatsky was so good at it that she could read whole books. She would come back with whole books. And there was a particular one where there was a book and it had she couldn't get the word on a page. And when they actually found the book, it had actually been eaten away by a bug. So that word was missing. But she was particularly gifted. Of course, all these wonderful gifted people, so are told that they're fakes. Yeah, lots of it. Lots of it, and lots of energies and lots of cleansing. Millie, thanks for bringing that up, because we could be even just like showering, and it doesn't have to be a whole long big shower. Even if is twice a day, if not 3-4 times a day at the moment. And it's maybe not even just having a full shower. Maybe you just like splash off. It's a bit terrible right now in the cold weather. But we also, because of our electromagnetic things, we actually, yeah, Grace, absolutely. Yeah. With Millie too, we're very close. And Heaney. Oh. Jared's Chant Fest was absolutely amazing. Yeah, Witchy Trista. That was so trippy. I mean, I felt that very much in Sadhguru's also. Okay, but they have these. It's just drumming. Well, not all of it. Some I just really couldn't listen to. It's not my style. I couldn't vibrate with it. But a lot of the drumming that he did when he led up to the quarter to 12, 12:30, midnight energy, that drumming, that is just so shamanic, and so that is trance drumming. And I mean, that was where this whole trance and house music came in, was that it actually vibrated to the heartbeat, 120 beats per minute, which is why people went all crazy. But this is all what we needed. It's this poor old sad West. We didn't have this. It's why we had to have the pill. And we had to have people like Osho, who, I mean, I think Osho is just amazing. I never saw him. Yeah, sometimes I would go in and out of consciousness with I'll go in and out of consciousness with Jared, and it was just so. Jared's was absolutely like amazing. And I wasn't going to stay because I'd already done an all-nighter, and for me it started at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I was going to go because I'd heard he started with the beautiful invocations, and I just thought, oh, it's just such a beautiful ending to an amazing night. And then I don't know, I just landed up staying, which I'm really glad I landed up staying. And it just took so many different. That's what I wanted to hugely talk about, was this, for lack of a better word, this really deep spiritual portal crossing. Hello everybody, thank you so much for being here. We're missing Uncle Josh, Papa Josh. Where's Papa Josh? He's okay, he'll pop in when he needs to. It took so many different levels. I was just in and out of different portals and different. PG, where were you last night? I used to say that I'll sleep when I'm dead. Yeah, but it was very huge. And now when I want to sleep, I can't sleep. I wanted to sleep this afternoon, and I couldn't. There's absolutely no ways I could sleep. I did eat though. I really felt that I needed to eat something. So I'd also been fasting and just back. It's to like be grounded. This is where we're moving. And as I said, this is the closing of one, like a bubble from the 11/11 closes today. This is the end of that carnival, well, that 11/11 portal. Well, it is in Germany, and they've been doing that for hundreds of years. So that finishes off today, and then they have a little break, and then we start the 40 days. So that's a whole, and we've got all this whole new year, Chinese New Year. And did you see they're making Lego? They made, obviously we're not getting it here, or maybe you get it in the States, but they must be making billions in America. They have made a huge big box Lego set of Chinese firecrackers. Oh, it's like, okay, research your market, well done. So yeah, the kids can build their Lego firecrackers. Maybe I'll post it tomorrow. When is New Year? Is it tomorrow or the next day? Flip, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm in such a weird space day. I don't know whether I'm going forward or back or up or down or standing still. So I'm just like riding these energies. Oh, okay, I don't know what that was. Okay, so these were the rishis that all went out. My personal thing is that they came, and that these were experiments that were all on different parts of the world, because they also, almost all of them talk about seven. I mean, these guys could have just like manifested themselves into seven beings, which is also fine. But for now, that's how I like to say, this is what I believe for now, and anything can change, and we all just, well, hello T, hello. We're all just I'm very tired. Thank you, Amy. But thank you, my love. I think I've had a lot of energy pouring through. Thank you. Thank you for that. I don't look at myself very much. Oh, we're talking about the water, and I got me into that and left the very busy part out, the most important part. Is that when we're wet with water, because especially now, it's really, if you go into meditation, it's, if you can, just like splash your face with water, because we're batteries and we're working, it's water. And the water makes us more receptive to the energies. Okay. And wash your hands. So these water, these ritual ritual washings were much deeper than we think. Have you lost a breadcrumb? Okay. So where else did we go last night? As I said, yesterday I was just channeling these amazing images, and I did share them because it was like part of my experience of what was happening within my meditation in my space with Shiva. And as I said, I'm so grateful that I have done quite a deep dive and shared quite a bit. So hopefully we know a little bit of what is going on. Oh, and that was just can you hear me, by the way? Because I've been playing with my, that's fine. Okay, that ran away from my brain. So many things in my brain right now. It's a lot, hey? It's a lot. And it's to actually make it as simple as possible. I really do miss my garden, but like the Pied Piper. Oh yeah, I've done the Pied Piper. I don't need to do the Pied Piper. Enjoy the Pied Piper. Yeah. You know, my thing, I don't know if we're talking about the Pied Piper. I redid, and what was really for me so sad when I was screaming about it in South Africa just recently, people don't know. They have no idea of the stories. So these are, they have no idea of any stories, let alone the corrupt ones that we have. But a big part of my my journey with the Pied Piper was that, yeah, well, you know, stick with your truth. You offered something and you were going to pay. You had all the rats, and you agreed on an amount of money, and then it was seemed so easy that if they were gone that you said, no, well, we're not going to pay you because you whatever. So he piped again and he took the children away. And what was so sad for me was that there was this disabled child on crutches that couldn't get through because the mountain had sealed up. And I said, no, that's absolutely not acceptable. So those mountains, so those portals need to stay open so that those that are disabled can also get through. It's the same story as the one with the little match girl. Yeah, they were good, but they were stories, but a lot of them were also changed, and they're really nasty. I mean, if you read the real story of Snow White, it's like she's chops her fingers off, and oh God, they're horrible. But I was really mean. You know, it's just like that's how I was to my kids. Before you get hold of Disney, because Disney's really messed them up, that you actually read the original first. And yeah, things like the Little Mermaid is I cry every time I read, and that's from the other side of the world, Hans Christian Andersen. That was part of my first awakening, that God is all in the fairy tales. But they also, the Brothers Grimm, just went around, and they did a good thing. Yeah, don't knock them too hard. They went around and they collected, which is what a lot of people are doing now. The Russians have been doing it for a long time. The Chinese are still doing it. This is what Sadhguru is doing. He's not doing the stories, but he's now started doing photography, and he goes into he does these pilgrimages with lots of people now, and they go. Well, I don't know how many, about 20 people or so, and they go over the most extraordinary terrain, and they go to these little villages that are like really in the outskirts of Tibet, around Mount Kailash. Yeah, so they travel through China, through India, through Tibet, but really in places that are beyond remote. And the schools, and it's quite amazing how, like, there's always this bush telegraph that they know that he's coming. So they kind of prepare poetry and little dances for this group of people. But he's now starting. Then he said, well, he just realized he hasn't taken photographs. He's been doing this for quite a few years. You can, first on his own, now with people. So he's now started taking photographs, and he's really encouraging them to keep their culture and to keep their costumes and their way of life and the way they bake their bread. And he is supporting them and giving them monies if needed to continue with good seed and good earth, but to stay where they are. So this is my old sentiment: stay where you are, stay in the bush, don't come to town. But if you want to come to the town and you want to study in town, there must also be that option that you can. You know, there must be that. Mhm. Oh, it's so hot. Oh. Mhm. Mhm. Lottie with the long nails, you know, you could always see for me, when I was working really hard, I had long nails because I couldn't play in my garden. As well, I've never had like nails done, so they were always my own nails. But yeah, it was because I could just write and tell people nice things what to do and go shop and decorate. So I had long, long, long nails. And then yeah, Mondays were my crazy day, and I would dress up in silk and velvet and garden with the fairies. I always took Mondays off. But yeah, when I didn't work, then I was in my garden, so I didn't have long nails. Yeah, enjoy the snow. And I think if you can, wash your face with snow, wash your hands with snow. Patrick, PG, go and roll around in the snow. You don't have to, I mean, enjoy it. It's not going to be there all year round. The oh, wait. There's so many things that was just his, and it's like just coming, so much is just coming, kind of coming together, and people are figuring out the things I've been looking at, and the dates, and there was this whole extraordinary trade that was going on from India. What do they call it? We had the Silk Road. Um, was it the Gold Road? But Rome, I mean, we know about the secrets of silk in the Silk Road. But the Indians were making silk, and you know these things are now coming out into the open with that the Romans had a very huge amount of trade. There's a guy that's discovered that, well, they just discovered them this year. All these incredible coins which have got Shiva on them, and they're from the BC era, you know. And then they started trading a lot with Greece, and Greece had actually taken the rice. So all of those, you know, with the trident, but they got a little bit mixed up with the mythology from the Greek. So as much as a young adult, or as a teenager, as a child, I was kind of quite obsessed with the Egyptian. No, that was as a very young child. Until 13, then it stopped. After 13, it became, no, it was even before 9. 9 was the Romans and the Greeks, Greek mythology. Because we didn't have it at school. My father had it. That's normal. Not here so much. I'm going to put that all together sometime. It's all part of my plan. What we need to learn about mythologies as a child, it's part of my training and teachings as Rudolf Steiner stuff, and what I've learned over the years, just what the body needs. We're talking about fairy tales, you know. Yeah, the Grimms went around. Oh, yeah, that's so we were talking about that. Yeah, so they're going and collecting them. There was this, but it's like it's been going. I've mentioned about those amazing Russian people that I met. Oh, I was talking Project Stargate. Let's go back there. Fuck, you know, we are been so like messed up in the West. It's really, 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 really sad. So that started in the 70s. Okay, I think I've told you there's two books that I read in my life, and I could have actually not read anything else. The one was called Magical Child, and the other was called The Secret Life of Plants. And The Secret Life of Plants, you can get it, but it was like still from the 50s, where they would, in Russia, they would do a lot of tests with watering plants with electricity, and that plants read your mind, and they would burn plants and they would hear them scream, and that's going back to the 50s. Okay. And they would actually identify people if somebody took something out of the room, like stole something, the plants would identify that person. So now we're saying this is normal, but this was like proved in laboratories, etc. So in the 70s, the Cold War, okay, from the 60s, 61, America got the absolute wobbles that they were getting behind with some of this more psychic stuff, and astral traveling and out of body traveling. So they started doing a lot of research into it and using these techniques, particularly from the old cultures, and they worked. Yeah, and obviously we have the binaural beats, which worked, but these all came from shamanic drumming and flutes and the the arms, so that these things vibrate your body. So as I've said to you before, which is really sad, it's got nothing to do with spirituality. It's just about technology. So this technology now is this scary time. Who's the technology? Who's going to have the technology? Anybody can have it. Everything's out there. These things from Egypt were all very, very, you were not allowed to talk about them because you had to do various stages first. I think in Egypt, and I'm not sure in India, in Egypt, I know that you had to just, for like a year, you had to just sit still. There's nothing else you had to do. You had to just be still. And the monks still do that. Okay, I'm running off. I'm doing this. You have to be still if you go to Tibet. It's just about sitting still. No movement, no itches, nothing. You've got to like be, because it's just the mind and the body that you have to control. Okay, so Project Stargate. So this was, and it was totally classified. Nobody could, and they obviously proved these things, but totally hush-hushed. Why they didn't let the people know? But the people were knowing on the fringe. Obviously you had Eric von Däniken, but he was also. I mean, that was why these people. Some. It's all over, but then they always bust for fraud. Like some, and it's like, oh God. But he put that was Chariots of the Gods. He really awakened the planet to extraterrestrials. Eric, he just recently passed. It was like huge discussions when I was a child. And then there was who did God's Graves and Scholars. Anyway, so I wanted to look up on Google about this Project Stargate. So I Googled Project Stargate, and what came up kind of really scared me a little bit. It was actually called Stargate Project. So you're in America, I'm sure that you are aware of what Stargate Project is. Stargate Project is right now, it's 100 million project. This is all that came up on Google. Okay. Now I'm looking, I want to know this other stuff, the psychic stuff that they were doing, and working with vibration to get out of body. And I know it was all hushed up. So what came up is that Trump has put 100 billion into AI intelligence at the moment, and that is now called Stargate project. And it's going to be something like 300 billion in a little while. He wants to be the first. I didn't go much further, and then just tiny little bit at the little bit, it says this is different to the project Stargate, which was started in 1974. And that's all it said. It didn't like lead me into what I was actually wanting to know. So, we find things out in different ways. So you guys might know about it. Oh, An Englishman in New York. I'm a legal alien. I loved it. His thing was lovely. It's like guitar. You can't play guitar. That's why I didn't play guitar. Mm. I listened to music. And it was always about guitar music, but that's all another story, another chapter in my life. Once upon a time. Okay, so we'll keep dipping around. Millie, I saw you dipping with the water. Enjoy, my love. I'll show you my water stuff. So, beloved Shiva of the waters, and it is the water. Oh, I was thinking about what we did last night with Jared. Was just so amazing. I don't know if he planned to do the mantra like that, or if he changed it. But that was just so extraordinarily beautiful. I had a lot of tears during that, and it would keep changing, and I'd keep hearing different things, and I would keep changing. Into different dimensions, and just seeing so many, not really seeing so much as I often usually see. A very different feeling, but definitely shifting into different places. And the mantra would change, and then you'd get the rhythm, and it would become totally hypnotic. And there was a time I thought, oh God, we should record this and sell it as like as a track for some kind of spooky movie, weird and wonderful movie. It was just like so amazing. But yeah, it was just such a complete, and it was again working with the divine feminine and the Shiva Shakti of this particular, or it's every Mahavratri, which is, I mean, there's one every month. There's 12 or 13 a year, but there's always this big one round about now, which is that blending of the Shiva and the Shakti energy, the Prakriti and the Paruka, the male energy and the female energy. Also very different. It's the opposite way to what we usually know. The Chinese philosophy, the yin and the yang, that is that the female is inert and the male is active. Whereas in the Indian philosophy, it's quite the different. The male is inert, and the female is just chaos. Yeah, they were totally. But what he did, he added cream at the beginning and at the end. So we have Om Namah Shivaya, which is the 5 mantra, the 5 elements of Shiva with the Om. And then Hrim is the female version. And Hrim in Tantra is almost it is as powerful as the Om. And it was just such a complete little thing. Yeah. So it's my new mantra for now. Hrim Om Namah Shivaya. Hrim. And Shrim, it also vibrates, and then Shrim is of the heart. So there was a time when Shiva was so angry with the world that he wanted to take those beach sounds away from the planet. So we wouldn't have had those. But these are so old and they've been sung in that same way. I read somewhere, I could be wrong. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not so good musically. Maybe Lottie can listen to it clearer. That they only use 3 notes. But you know, the Indians don't have 3 notes. They have all those little sub notes. You know, like the head must always move. I don't know, why do they always move the head like this? But it is important to say some of them really clearly. And that was Patanjali who came. He was the snake guy. Yeah. And he condensed a lot of this teaching that the Puranas of Patanjali. He condensed it all pretty much into 10 pages. But very powerful pages. And he worked hugely on grammar, that you said them correctly. And I remember somebody saying, like with Durga, sorry, I'm jumping all over, but these are really important and they like mean so much when I observe what's happening, because I said also, like a while back, I said India is going to be the salvation of the world. Not as in we want to worship them, not at all. It's not a religion, it's a way of life. It's not even a philosophy. It's just get on with it, guys. We'll definitely be discussing, I'm going to do a very deep dive into the Kama Sutra. The sex positions, guys, are like, yeah, that big. They are they are this like one small part of what the Kama Sutra is. And Kama Sutra is about cooking. This is what I'm busy really focusing on right now. And then it was actually the Kama Sutra. So, but okay. So, what was the difference between Durga? Some Indian scholar was asked, what's the difference between Durga riding an elephant, a lion, because they pictures of her riding a lion, and pictures of her riding a tiger. And they said a beach, one letter, one vowel. It's an E or an A. And then she rides a tiger. So these vowels are these words. And it's another thing, these beach mantras, the shreem, shreem, him, shreem, kleem. Kleem is always, with it, H is always where we bring in Shiva. Kleem is is always when we bring in Kali. But anyway, let's not even go down there. But what I also was just like struck me so hugely yesterday, I think, was that in the Abrahamic mythology, the vowels are removed. They are not spoken. Mm-hmm. So they're just jots and tittles and can make, which I just thought was like very interesting. So, yeah, in the Vedic, they are clearly spoken, and they have been spoken for thousands of years before they were written down. And they've been written down for over 7,000 years. But longer. Okay, let's have more pictures. Where else were we? Okay, so, hello, Flash. Yeah, just Shiva, 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 Shiva. Shiva is seriously everything. I mean, and it's just so beautiful to watch that he has been coming alive over the last couple of years that I've really been kind of dipping into it. So a lot on the Bhairav and the tantric thing, because he can smoke dope, etc., etc. But it's not really. Hey, it's just it's in India, and just stay with that in India and let them keep their stuff. Just please, just leave them alone. I've really been, I push hard. Don't just keep your Western crap out of India. We didn't do a good job this time. Don't just leave it. I saw Marissa Pierce was over there. I thought, oh, fuck off, you stupid cow. I tried to work with her stuff. I nearly blew my brains out. And a lot of people. She's great. She does that hypnotherapy. So, yeah, the mantras. So let's My new mantra for now. But be careful with the mantras, yeah? Especially those, so just keep it safe, keep it simple, because you can do a lot of damage because we don't know, and we don't know what we're bringing in. And they are very powerful sounds, which is that's probably why, because we couldn't be trusted in these Abrahamic religions, so they took the vowels out, so we couldn't have those sacred sounds. As I said, it's also with the Book of Enoch. Yeah, he came and he brought all these wonderful things which they have in India, but they were not supposed to be given. So I think that my feeling right now, and it has been for a long time, years, is that there were different experiments in different parts of the planet, but also the geography will actually also have a lot of influence. The air, the energy. I mean, that's apples. Something on apples. Apples are influenced so hugely by the mountains and the water and the energy, and they grow all over the world. But they are hugely influenced by the biosphere around them. But still, it's very difficult, I think, for all of us here to not get angry as to how our governments have distorted and our mythological places have distorted so much. So these are the 7 rishis looking more like they belong in Greece. I don't know. But they were also very beautiful. I just love this art. I'm very into these the subtitle. I will be doing a lot more. I want to, because one was for archaeology, one for art, one was for architecture, for growing. We've done quite a big deep dip with the Dogon mathematics. This is also a very big thing what the Indian, way back, thousands of when they restructured where the planet had crashed through starvation, through drought, and they rebuilt it with geometry, with absolute, and it followed everywhere they went. They did it all the same because they fixed the formula and they worked with it, and they just used that. They really did stick on a good thing. They didn't have too much free thought, but they had a good life. So this was Shiva working with the Ganges. Oh, I love it. He's just so exuberant. And we all have our own different vision of Shiva. But the most important thing is that Shiva is for now and he's for the future, the energy of him and what he holds. Just simply from incense, he holds incense. He holds scent. And he holds speech, because he brought those are his gift to get to him, to get to different portals, to get to a whole new cosmos, is through the sounds, the vowels. Shrim. There was something so interesting that I've found out about the Om, the A or is that it's a bit dark, but even if your tongue is removed from your mouth, you can still say that sound. A or It's 3, it's actually 4, but it's 3. A or and then the pause. Yeah, but yeah, just be a little aware, follow your integrity about working with the mantras. I will actually talk about, been meaning to do it for so long, the Gayatri mantra, which is just so beautiful. Exuberant Shiva. Oh, it's so much adoration. I can live with this Shiva in my life. Just playing with the stars. Astrology is another one. Astronomy. Fishing. A lot of the African cultures, their visitors, the nomad, they taught them to fish. So it's okay. There's still like a lot of questions. Thank goodness there's tons and tons of beautiful question marks. And then the marriage of Parvati. I didn't do sati. And as I said, she asked him very nicely to clean up. Because she was the princess of the mountain, which is what her name means. And that when she took him to be introduced to her parents and to be married, that he came, and he did, he came in all his absolute finery and adorned as a prince, not as this crazy, wild, woolly-haired guy from the mountains that hadn't bathed for the last 2,000 years, with sticks and water pouring out his hair and skulls around his neck and a tiger skin wrapped around him. And all of these things, we did do it again a little while. They all have a meaning. You know, there's nothing, absolutely nothing without a meaning. But I think the biggest thing is for me is beauty. I've always worked with beauty, and the other saying is above all else be kind. And you know, it's okay to like the people that you like, but it's difficult to be kind to the ones that you don't. Yeah, I have this crazy witch downstairs, so people that are, and I don't. When she talks to me, I just say Dankeschön, Dankeschön. I just look at her like I'm like get this blank look in my face, and I just smile and I say Dankeschön. It makes her very angry, but I refuse to get into any discussion with her. She's really nasty. And then this is the yoga, where there's many stories, which is also what I love about the Indian stuff, is there's not just one story, you know. People, different areas of India have slightly different interpretations. But the thread of the story is still there, which is just wonderful. It's just such a living thing. Ah. What did I wanted? I don't know what Marissa, but that is just something that I am really getting quite good at right now, is just telling these things that wanted me to do things or get into my brain right now. It's just a F off. Just really, I'm done. F off. Okay. This is, guys, we've got it. We've got to just keep it. We've got to just know that we've got it and just keep going. That's, why am I funny? I don't know why I'm funny. Yeah, they are hypnotic. Yeah, last night, if you didn't think they were hypnotic, they were hypnotic. Totally trippy. I don't know if any of you remember, maybe it was when you weren't born yet. Sorry. When I went to the States when I lived there was a shop called the Psychic Eye. I lived in Los Angeles. That they closed down. Apparently, they're not there anymore. There were in various places. They were huge. It was this bookshop, and they had every kind of book you can imagine and every kind of magical thing that you needed from whichever thing you could think of. But and they would always burn this incense, but there were thousands of books. And I kind of knew what I was looking for, but I would get hypnotized. I would lose my brain. So it's like these elementals, and they're not good. They would just take you and put you into complete confusion. And my son was quite young at the time. He'd have to actually come. You'd have to pinch me. It's like, we need to go. You need to get out of here, because I would just be completely hypnotized. A lot of like, not always. It's about your intention, guys. You know, it's the atom. It's everything. It's what you're going to do with it. Energy in itself is neither good nor bad. How you use it. And that's what I've always like with that DDT, with that poison. That was, you know, that's so nasty. That was developed to kill the foliage in Vietnam, so that the guys couldn't hide in the trees, and they did. They would in the jungle, and they would just spray the area. Oh, it's people, what the fuck are you thinking? Who 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 gets into? How do you have a brain like this? Yeah. Oh. Oh, I do. That's funny. Yeah, no, I don't. She's I kind of first saw her stuff in about 2011, 2012. No, 2014, I got him 2015, 2016. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's very focused. I mean, she's got this whole thing that she wants to be the biggest and the best and the wealthiest and the most exuberant. Um, and she started that way back there, and she has become. But it's just I've for me with that also was really interesting. There was a guy, what's he called, Beach Biceps or something, that I've been following for a long time. He has a lot of young guy. He has a lot of like really interesting people on his show, and then he had Marissa Pierce, and I thought, oh, please don't do this. Find your own stuff. You know, they only just really finding their own stuff, because most of this stuff was like messed around by the British, yeah, the colonials, and what they had written of their history and their schooling was given to them by the British. So they've had to also like start to find out where they are and who they are, and get their own scholars and trust their own scholars. And it's got this crazy thing in the world, is that it's got to have the stamp of the West to be okay. And we have to, you know, everybody has to get out of that, you know, even us. Yeah. And she was on his show, and I thought, oh, please no. And then I must be careful what I think. Just after that, I think, was he in the States or was he in India? I don't know, can't remember. But it was there, some YouTuber from the States, and they had this crazy thing. What was the question? I mean, it's like, where do you come with this flipping question, guys? Only somebody from, and I think it was originally a Canadian or an American, some female YouTuber had this question, and he put it out on Indian talk show. It was what, and they wouldn't even talk about it. They wouldn't even mention. They wouldn't even say it on their broadcasts. They would lead you round and round to go and find out what exactly he said, because it was such a taboo. They picketed outside, but what it was, what would you rather? Oh, something I can't remember it exactly now, but it was something like, would you rather listen to your parents having sex every night, or just go and join them for once? Something like that. It was like, where do you come up with this? What are you like to the youth? Why even plant a seed like that? But India was in. And I just thought, yeah, you see, you want to have Marissa Pierce on your show. That's my snack from the comic universe. I can be a little nasty. Okay, so back to, this is yoga. This was where yoga came from, with the dancing with Parvati. And she was so enamored by this guy who was doing all this amazing, I mean, don't you want what he's got? Where is it? I mean, when he's made it, don't you just want this? Don't you just want to be like this? I just want this. I just want this. I want it. Don't you just want it more and more? More and more. I want it. I want it. And she said to him, I want to know everything. I want to know what you've got. I want to know how you get there. I want to know how you do it. You're just like in this absolute bliss. You're in this stillness. You're intoxicated. You're tripping. But you're so alive, but you're so still. Okay? So he said, okay, come, I'll teach you. So he taught her yoga with the dance moves. I think there's also 108 moves. And then there's this whole story where a fish, like a man was swallowed by a fish, and the fish was in the water. It's like the Jonah, or maybe it was a submarine, and he watched the movements and he remembered them, and he brought the movements of yoga to the world. So the movements, yoga as the movements are just like also the tiniest, teeniest, weeniest little bit of what yoga is. Okay. And you only need a couple of movements. You can do all those other, please. If you want to do that, those guys are fantastic and gobsmacked. They're just amazing. That was the kind of dancing that they were having when they were doing this consecration of this female linga, this divine, dark, gorgeous, feminine, with these guys doing these body things. Wow. It was just, if you can see it, if you can find it on a replay, it's really beautiful to watch. And then, but this comes actually later, which is, I can't remember, that's got a fabulous name. I really can't get my brain over all these names, where there's this absolute fusion of, so he does, with that, he takes, with the dancing, and he takes her into himself, and he becomes half man, half woman, which is the ideal man, because he can actually have the compassion. And you know, my old story is, for me, before all of this made me go mad and makes the rest of the world go mad, Jesus was just a guy, a woman in a guy's body, because he thought like a woman. But okay, I've moved on. Well, he was an Indian, whatever. So the story goes, so they would now act as one, the whole Shiva and the Shakti, and they would become creative in each in their individual ways. You know, as I said, I can really relate to that beautifully, because I can feel it's not always so nice when God feels like he's not with you at the moment. It's like, okay, my Shiva's gone off to the mountain, and that's fine. Okay, I just absolutely, they were just pouring out. Is absolutely divine. And of course, Parvati is always playing with the water. She goes back to the water. She holds the water. She holds the galas. That's originally where she is too. So Millie, that's for you as well if you want to work with that. So much, you know. But really, at the end of the day, is just go play music. You know, chop wood, carry water. Water is chopped and wood is carried. You know what I mean? Water, yeah. Wood is chopped and water is carried. And share the technologies and the techniques and the things. And I don't have young children right now to encourage to do that. I believe I teach out there somewhere, which is much easier. This is where I said where all our teaching, the real teaching is coming from. But we do need to still be very, if you're working on out of body stuff and remote viewing and all of that, do it with integrity. There was a thing a couple of years ago that this is like going to be the technology of the future, the espionage of businesses, where I was just so wrong. Like, why? You know, remote viewing. I mean, I'm sure you have it in the States. I know we'd have it in South Africa when they launched a new car. and it would like be all wrapped up before nobody can see it. I mean, that whole thing of espionage with cars was like huge. Yeah. This I was thinking this was like Millie, if you're still here. These are particularly our water spirits. I hope you enjoy them. It's really like, yeah. Much love, Grace. Please take care. We'll see you. We will see you. Yeah, I know, Millie. So that's like we don't want these they've got I actually want to do like quite a like when do they start? Like I know in Africa, the African stuff, but they don't talk to us very much, eh? They have their circle of women and they have their meetings, and you have to be married. You can't be single to go to a woman's meeting. And they will talk about all sorts of wonderful, how to pleasure your man, and they talk about their problems. They don't need psychiatrists and psychologists. This is bullshit. We just need a drumming circle and a couple of friends. The psychology, it's going to be just big business, money. So yeah, we like to hold on to our drama and trauma, but over. There's no more drama and trauma. You can whatever. So yeah, it's beautiful, the water energies. Yeah. It's absolute water energies with exuberance. Absolute, I love that. They're just like this is where I visualize myself going so often. This is like for many years, a few years, this is how I visualize myself in Tibet, dancing through the mountains. That's what I see myself. That's me. Exactly like that, dancing on the clouds. Just remember, clouds are water. Yes, don't forget the water. We're back to the water. Now, these are also all the elements. So we're working again with Shiva and the divine elements. It's absolute sensuous. I remember there was a couple I met in the States. They were just so amazing. The way they cooked. They would cook together. They were just like one person. And they didn't talk. Hardly spoke. I mean, like, she would chop the strawberry and he would collect the strawberries, and it was like, it just flowed. It was like this. It was just absolute music in their cooking. Compared to the other people I know in England who are the rudest. They cook very well together, but my God, are they rude. Oh, it's like the food sticks in your throat. Shiva, Shakti. This is also, we don't know. But people perish for lack of knowledge. So Sadhguru, it's old. It's Shambhu, and they used it last night. Go. Oh, go. Love you lots, John. Well, you see, I can't think of anybody's name. Victor, thank you for being there. Thank you. Go and enjoy. That sounds very weird. Sporks drag. Okay, I have a crazy imagination and I just take things literally. So have fun, darling. Go strut. Okay, so Shambhu is actually, it's Shiva, and Sadhguru does use it a lot. It's not his, but it is something that he particularly has brought again. There was also this guy who actually brought Ganesha back to life again, only like about 150 years ago, 200 years ago, he went around India bringing Ganesha back to life. Okay. And he uses that Shiva, Shiva, Shiva Shambhu. And what it actually means, Shambhu, is deep stillness and meditation. Love you, love you, love you. I'm going to stop because it's tired and I've been on here for a while and everybody's going to get tired. So go and Shambhu, Shiva, Shiva Shambhu, which is like deep stillness and deep meditation. And there was some girl that came, she's some singer from the States, and she really didn't understand. She was like trying to like liven up the crowd like a rock and roll festival. And it wasn't working. People were just looking at her really confused. And she was like trying to get, and I was feeling so embarrassed and shamed for her. Huh? And she was saying, "Can I have a shampoo?" And that's not what it is, you know. It's like, can I have a yes? Yeah. But a shambhu is, it's not something you're shouting. It's something that you're actually bringing yourself down to a stillness. So remember, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So I'm going to just jump through quickly and leave us because it is time. It's time for me to go to sleep. It's 22:22 here. I've been awake, I feel, for like 3 or 4 days, for a long time. As I said, I feel like I've done 3 Mahashivratris. It's like weird. No, it's very beautiful. It's a very privileged space. So, the stillness of Shiva, 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 Shambhu. So yeah, my people perish for lack of knowledge. As I say, if we don't know, we can make stupid fools of ourselves often. And Shiva is the keeper of dogs, so I'm really privileged to have him around me for a long time. These are all aspects of Shiva. But I will leave him with Nandi. So we'll talk about Nandi another time. Nandi is beautiful. I love Nandi. When you understand Nandi, you understand this. Look at that face. Nandi is so pretty. Nandi tells everybody about Shiva. Maybe Nandi is part of like be a vegetarian. And then you tune in easier. Anyway. I love you all so much, everybody. Stalker, thank you. So I love us all so much. Don't sleep, don't sleep in the snow. Are you still in the snow? Anyway, enjoy whatever you're doing. And just remember, this is like part of, so that was part of, it's just like kind of think a little bit where you were on 11/11, and that's kind of like a little container. Obviously there's always things going over, and yeah, so love you all, everybody. Love you, PG. Take good care of yourself. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, beautifuls. May your hearts be pure. May you think of whatever so is good and true and beautiful. Please think upon these things. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. Take good care of yourselves. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow during the new moon celebrations. Be safe, everybody.